Welcome back everyone dito sa latest episode ng FYI, a Voter Education Series. Kasama natin among the leading experts sa ating bansa, my fellow academics and specialists. Pag-usapan natin today, among others, West Philippine Sea, so-called sharp power and foreign interference, at of course yung TRICOM about the fake news peddlers. Kamusta ang latest kay Pebbles, kay Harry, and the rest of the gallery of rogues? Welcome back everyone. Salamat din for joining us. Salamat to my former colleague. Sana hindi ka nagre-regret na naging colleague tayo at some point. Parang mabait, parang mas mabait ba ako? Ikaw mas mabait ba?
Pareho lang tayo.
Parehas lang tayo. Now, of course.
Nawawalang ng bait.
Of course. For those who are familiar dito sa series natin na FYI Voter Education series natin, obviously si Doc Sherwin na first time natin nakasama. Si Din natin, naka-ilan cameo na siya. May din and din pa tayo parang episode na iliting natin mamaya. Yeah. But of course, let's start first with Doc Sherwin. Of course, Doc Sherwin, one of the things that makes you, aside the fact na mabait kang colleague back in the day in LaSalle is, you have a background, of course, in the armed forces from what I know. You did, of course, some also studies or at least visiting program in Taiwan para sa tayo dyan, especially focusing dito sa issue ng sharp power operation. Yeah. So, may we start with you first? Ngayon kasi may TRICOM na tayo kung saan pinag-usapan ng mga fake news peddlers and disinformation and all. Do you think this is the first step in really looking at whether itong explosion ng disinformation, hindi lang misinformation, ay baka there's a more, hindi na invisible hand lang yata tawag dyan. If there's a iron fist behind this na medyo nag-e-echo ng mga concern ng mga kaibigan natin in neighboring Taiwan. Can we discuss that? First of all, what is sharp power?
Yeah, actually yung paggamit ng ng paggamit ng power na hindi siya traditional, Hindi siya yung military power, but more on influence, So paggamit for example ng lakas ng ekonomiya, paggamit ng information, paggamit ng diplomacy, yan yung nakikita natin sa sharp power. Now, nabanggit mo yung sa Taiwan, yung nangyayari nga sa atin ngayon. Nung pinapanood ko or nakikita ko yung nangyayari sa atin, sabi ko parang familiar
Templated
Oo, parang templated siya, Yung may common playbook na tinatawag.
Playbook, yes.
So unang-una, since mag-e-election, yung sa Taiwan kasi nagpunta ako doon before the presidential election.
You were there,
yeah. Paborito ng mga malign actors itong elections Kasi nga open ang mga tao pag pinush nila yung kanilang influence operations. Normal siya, nano-normalize, And matindi ang template doon sa Taiwan, dahil nga gumagamit sila, for example, ng mga deepfakes. Yung deepfakes dito, hindi lang video, na for example, yung former president.
Polvoron, kunyari.
Hindi lang gano'n, pati mga news, yung newscast. Na
the whole thing is deepfake,
AI-driven yung Tapos, nung time na nandun ako, nag-release sila ng libro about the former president of Taiwan, sa Iway, na libro talaga, tapos may video equivalent,
Okay.
Kaya nung nakita ko yon, sabi ko, Diyos ko, kung ito'y gagawin sa Pilipinas, magiging malaking banta sa ating security ito, Kasi kung yung Taiwan na ganun ka modern ay nahihirapan, lalo na malamang tayo na mahirapan din.
Modern at the same time yung kumbaga may digital literacy sila. In fact, they have a minister for digital affairs na na-meet ko, di ba? So meron silang a whole department just dedicated to fighting disinformation. And yet, they're still overwhelmed, Grabe yung deepfakes and everything nangyayari dyan. We know that back in 2020, the previous presidential elections, because I was there just before that, yung dating mayor ng Kaohsiung na tumakbo, parang digong style yun. Out of nowhere, biglang sumikat. Yung pala, na-detect nila na yung mga followers niya mostly, mga bots na backed by China-based and potentially unit within the PLA.
Tsaka Richard, medyo unique din yung sa Taiwan dahil brasuhan doon yung diretsuhan, wala nang tago-tago, For instance, yung kanilang mga youth influencers, talagang grabe, may script na sinusundan. nung pinakita sa akin ng Taiwan Ministry yung mga
Right.
influencers, talagang structured. Even
Which,
mga
which,
showbiz
which again
personality.
seems sounds familiar. Sounds familiar. Sounds-
Nakakalungkot man isipin na parang nakikita mo na siya ngayon dito sa atin.
Yeah.
Na same playbook, same template.
I want to add one more thing before I go back. I go to Dean Gad. The other thing we discussed a lot with our Taiwanese friends, this is 2019 pa lang, nung National Chengchi pa ako nun was, ang galing kasi, they don't reach out to your usual journalists and thought leaders. Kasi meron na kumbaga, etong thought leader na to, liberal to, DPP to, or yun na. They reach out dun sa mga cultural influencers, fashion icons, ganon. And then, biglang, why not have harmony, unity with Mother China, and then etong trip ko sa China, napakaganda. Ang laki daw ng effect, lalo sa younger generation. Kasi, naman, hindi naman political to, walang agenda to, hindi naman po. So, they were reaching out daw sa mga cultural icons. Again, pag na-realize mo, maraming tao na kumakanta lang nung isang araw, ngayon biglang expert na sa UNCLOS and West Philippine Sea. Di ba? So, nakikita ko parang, this sounds familiar. Sounds familiar, speaking of that playbook, di ba?
Yeah. Totoo yan, Richard. And yun nga, mapunta ulit tayo dun sa example na sinite mo. Hindi lang cultural, pati showbiz personalities.
Exactly, yeah.
Grabe, para lang maabot nila siguro yung mga different
Social
demographics
classes, yeah.
ng kanilang bansa. Ginagamit nila itong mga ito. No?
And yet, of course, nanalo pa rin the good guys, which is something that why I still talk about Taiwan, no? Right? But then before I go back to Doc Sherwin on the Taiwan model na I think is very relevant to us, but obviously there's also the Australian model, another interesting model that I observed throughout the years when I used to be a lot in Australia. Hindi na ako maghugot stories doon. But anyway, etong TRICOM na ito, what is your read of this? Kasi one of the interesting read ng mga tao is that, wow, parang nag-level up ang Congress nowadays. Yung Senate, yung parang dati natin Congress na purong ewan yung mga hearings, di ba? To be honest. Itong Congress ngayon, next level. And the TRICOM gumagaling at gumagaling. Lima na yata, nakalimang TRICOM na yata na on fake news peddlers and all. What is your assessment so far?
Well, I think I shared your observations as well, and other social scientists and experts in the field of political science, sociology, and even public administration also shared that kind of observation, that it seems that the House of Representatives is really doing very well, uplifting and putting the pedestal of what a Congress should be at this juncture, compared with what's happening right now in the Senate. And I think they're now, tingin ko, mas nagiging matapang sila, mas nagiging makatotohanan, in a sense, no? And at the same time, they're really pushing the agenda of their constituencies. Ito siguro yung reflection, dahil yung mga congressman kasi, sa totoo lang, they always listen to their constituencies. At narinig nila itong mga kwentong ito na, sir, I'm sure na share sa kanila, congressman, may nabasa po kaming gantong impormasyon, totoo po ba ito? Siguro ito yung mga series of events that lead also for them to be more curious and inquisitive about what really is happening right now. And from then, parang tingin natin nababastos na ata yung ating demokrasya, nababastos na ata talaga yung ating impormasyon. At pag binabasa ko nga uli yung libro ni How Democracy Dies, diba? Kasama sa formula, yung maliban sa pag-discredit sa opposition, ay yung also discrediting yung mga traditional media at yung pagpapakalat ng mga maling impormasyon, yung ating tatawag nating misinformation or disinformation. So, these are indeed part and parcel of what we are observing right now, no? To support a particular group, no? At alam naman natin, no, yung ginagawa itong investigasyon nito ay para i-unmask yung mga supporter ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na nakita nating nagpapakalat ng mga gantong uri ng mga impormasyon. At kung i-collect nga natin dun sa kwento ni Dr. Ona kanina, it seems that they are also players, no, of the disinformation playbook na nangyayari sa atin. Kasi sila yung mga nagsasabi, for example, na kung tutusin, sila dapat ang nanguna sa pagiging patriot. Pero di ba, sila yung mga nagsasabi na parang mas pinababoran pa ata nila yung bansang China kaysa sa ating mga Coast Guards na naputulan na ng kamay, na binobomba, etc. etc. So I think what the TRICOM doing right now is
Binubomba ng tubig, just to be clear.
binubomba ng
Baka sabihin
tubig.
nila tayo naman ang fake news.
Binubomba ng tubig. Binubomba ng
yeah.
tubig.
Which
To
is
be
not
more
okay. You
specific.
can still die,
Yeah,
just to be clear.
yeah.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think what the House of Representatives right now, especially the TRICOM is doing right now, is doing a great service, no, to our nation to lead in unmasking these actors, these players, at makita natin talaga saan nanggagaling yung kanilang impluwensya, saan nanggagaling ang kanilang resources,
So the money trail.
and how they manage
Yeah.
to have this kind of collaborative,
Yeah.
strategic, and
Networked.
network, sabay-sabay sa
Yeah.
pagkakalat ng mga ganitong informasyon.
Yeah, yung talking points nila very similar. I want to go back again dito sa issue ng Taiwan and deep fakes and all of that. Well, yung deep fakes last year pa lang nakita na natin including yung isang deep fake na although medyo audio lang yata yung nakita natin, which is pinapalabas na si President BBM ang parang warmonger, instructing the AFP to be ready for war. So obviously we know sino magbe-benefit sa ganitong line of argumentation, di ba? That was in light of the EDCA expansion, trilateral with Japan, and then we have now this Polvoron one video na nakita natin. Are these, of course, we're not legal experts here, but are we veering towards basically sedition or at least destabilization na dito? Now I'm asking you as someone who used to be in the armed forces, like, is this something that could be part of a destabilization plot? Kasi it's one thing to poison the well of democratic discourse. That's how democracies slowly die.
Yeah.
It's another thing na talagang gusto mo ipatalsik na yung gobyerno, di ba? Talagang ipamukha mo na yung presidente mo ay cocaine addict, ganito, ganyan, warmonger. This looks like they're going na for G, right? Going for G na to.
Yeah, kaya nga mahalagang makita natin to hindi lamang dun sa product hindi lamang dun sa deepfake product, but dun sa intent.
Intent, exactly,
Oo.
yeah.
Kasi kanina tinanong mo ako ano yung sharp power, hindi ba? May goal kasi yan no? Bakit mo siya ginagamit, ano?
And just to be clear, sharp power is actually sila similar people in one levels. Sharp power is basically authoritarian superpowers weaponizing freedoms and openness in democratic nations or semi-democratic nations to push for their geopolitical agenda. So this is not the typical parang CIA operations ganun. Ibang usapan 'yan, 'di ba?
Yeah.
It's not your typical foreign interference. It's a special type of foreign interference that Russians, for instance, perfected first. Yeah.
I agree, no? Kaya lang, kailangan mo ngang malaman, no? Bakit may playbook at ano ang goal ng kanilang playbook, ano? In this case, makikita mo na nagbo-border na dun sa disruption, destabilization, ano? Bakit? Kasi nga, part yan ng playbook ng kabila, ng ating adversary, no? Na gusto nilang i-discredit yung gobyerno natin, gusto nilang i-disrupt. Bakit? No? Para bumaba yung kanyang credibility. No? Para bumaba yung public support, para bumaba yung tiwala ng tao. No? Yung iangat yung dissatisfaction at yung ibaba yung trust level ng mga tao. So ito yung nakikita ko na pwedeng mangyari and tama yung sinabi mo, pwede siyang magpunta doon sa part na destabilization na talaga
Meaning even activate certain disgruntlement within the armed forces, within the ganun. Kasi, again, I want to ask you because this is an ongoing debate. Ako, during Digong's time, I insisted and I wrote a whole series of pieces about that Digong failed to exercise the kind of subjective control, to use the Samuel Huntington term, on the military that he had over the police. But nevertheless, maraming mga taong nag-benefit pa noon ni Digong, including many of the ex-generals and ex-people at very high levels. And so may mga nagsasabi, and one of them is a veteran of multiple coup attempts, that's Senator Trillanes. Sabi ko, are you worried there could be another Trillanes in the ranks? Ikaw, anong basa mo, Doc? Do you think that we have reached the quantum or the threshold of professionalization that almost impervious? Or do you think that even if that may be the case, we shouldn't be complacent? That this kind of this destabilization plot may create some fracturing within the security services, if not the armed forces?
Ako, Richard, personally, I have this impression na very professionalized na ang armed forces, ano? And hindi na sila kumbaga hindi na sila sasama sa mga ganitong klaseng destabilization. However, of course, may mga bosses diyan, especially yung mga nasa labas na.
Ex-generals.
O yung mga nasa retired level na maaring nag-express ng opinion at maaring meron pang konting
Residual
sway,
influence.
influence dun sa officer corps, no? But in general, nakikita natin ngayon, ako I believe, no, na very professionalized na ang ating armed forces at saka kapulisan, no? Hindi na siguro sila yung katulad dati nung 1980s or 1990s na mag-i-engage.
Disgruntled lagi.
Yeah.
But precisely because of that, because I remember I interviewed Secretary Lorenzana during the Marawi operation. I got a quote for a New York Times op-ed I did, and he expressly said, "We learned our lessons from the past.
Alam mo,
Hindi
Richard,
kami magpagamit sa mga politiko."
At saka ngayon malinaw na ang national security imperative, no?
Right.
Ang ano natin ngayon is
West Philippine
to protect
Sea.
our maritime zones, yung comprehensive archipelagic defense concept. Yan ngayon nakatuon ang focus ng ating armed forces, ano? Yung modernization, at the same time pati yung sa cyber realm, pati na rin dito sa malign influence, ano? Nakatuon talaga sila diyan. So makikita mo talaga na hands on deck ang ating armed forces, ano? Hindi na ako naniniwala na magkakaroon pa ng destabilization.
We'll have a second short episode part after this, because this part is more about malign influence. The second part, I want to talk more about West Philippine Sea itself, no? But now I want to talk about ano yung mga resiliency mechanisms, kasi this is a voter education. But voter education presumes it's the same usual problems of politicians lying about each other and black propaganda. Well, as laid out very eloquently, medyo malaki ang problema natin. Mukhang next level ng disinformation. Hindi lang yung mga kabastusan ng mga politiko, hindi lang mga usual election-related violence, hindi lang issue ng moralidad and conscience. This is now the very fabric and texture of reality is being bent a la Matrix, di ba? Do you think we should approach voter education, including these kinds of series, differently in line of the malign interference, sharp power threat?
Remember what we have said and what we mentioned in an early episode.
Yung inaugural natin
na yung ating voters education ay hindi lang dapat mangyari tuwing panahon ng election. I think we have to continuously conduct our voters education in light of what's really happening right now, no? Especially mas nagiging komplikado, no? Yung sabi ko nga nasa ilang level pa lang tayo ng malign influence. Pag tumaas na lalo ito in the coming years or so, we really have to prepare, no, our voters, especially our first-time voters, about all this information to happen. Kaya, to some extent, medyo maganda rin ginagawa ng COMELEC ngayon. Halimbawa, they're calling out all candidates that, violating certain rules, especially
discrimination,
pambabastos sa mga kababaihan, at
LGBTQ
at yung
groups,
protection of data privacy, like for example, telling yung mga health condition, it's a good sign, no? And of course, it will be better talaga if COMELEC will also lead in terms of helping us in combating misinformation and disinformation as part of a whole gamut of institution who's doing this. So kaya nga, siguro maganda makita rin ng COMELEC talaga na after this election, huwag silang tumigil. They have to continue doing rounds of, educating the voters, and at the same time, on our end, sa academia, yung ating civic duties. Na importante na, as a participants of a democratic society, hindi lang tayo dapat fence-sitter. Hindi lang natatapos yung ating obligasyon sa pagboto. So we have to be active in terms of, raising our concerns, calling out and writing to our representative. Katulad ng nangyari ngayon, di ba? Naku-call out na natin yung mga kandidato. So sana this type of vigilance, this type of actions coming from various stakeholders ay mas lalo pang maiting natin, after this election. And I will be looking forward, for that meaningful participation ng ating mga mamamayan, including of course in support, for example nga ng ating issue dyan sa West Philippine Sea, dahil hindi ko talaga maintindihan kung bakit halimbawa yung mga tao na sumusuporta pa sa kabila kaysa sa atin. Halimbawa, pag hindi naman maigi, sino ba makikinabang pag ang mga mangingisda natin ay makapaglayag, makapangisda? Hindi naman ng mga Amerikano hindi naman ng mga tayo mismo makikinabang but why not we are doing our share and campaigning. Yung mga ibang senador na pag may mga nangyayaring mga insidente, hindi mo sila marinig kung ano kung bakit nila hindi kayang suportahan, no? Directly yung ating mga mangingisda, yung ating Coast Guard na talagang halos binastos at sinaktan na, no, ng ating neighboring country dyan sa
Well, because maybe it embarrasses their political leader, di ba? Meaning Rodrigo Duterte. I think some people will choose their partisanship over patriotism, unfortunately.
Yeah, dagdagan ko lang yung sinabi ni Dean Gary, Richard, ano? Talagang ang dapat ngayong election na to maging parameter itong West Philippine Sea, no? Na sino ba itong mga kandidatong ito na nanahimik nung pinutulan ng kamay, nung binangga yung ating mga Coast Guard ships, or nagpe-peddle ng disinformation. Sino ba
Anda ako mamatay! Anda ako mamatay para sa West Philippine Sea.
Mag-jet ski ka ba?
Sabi nung isa, hindi lang jet ski talaga, anda ako mamatay, sabi niya.
Huwag natin kalimutan, ano, na sabi ko nga sa mga lectures ko on West Philippine Sea, hindi lang to laban ng maritime zones, no? Nagsispill over siya sa lupa, no? Yung pagpasok, for example, ng mga pogos. Part of malign influence yan, no? Na nakikita natin nung ni-raid ng gobyerno natin, ano meron? Troll farms pala yung nandun.
Generational. Diba? I mean, it's also not
Yes.
only for this generation. Generational to eh. Pag we allow this, in particular, kung payagan natin ang China na makontrol lang buong
Ako nga
West
ako mas
Philippine
simple eh. Sino ang nagbigay ng birth certificate dyan?
Pa yun.
Sino ang
Passport.
nagbigay ng mga passport dyan?
So I think we'll start our next episode of West Philippine Sea with Alice Go kasi we'll start with the farm before we go to the sea. Right? Kasi medyo the land dominates the sea, kumbaga
Parang
doctrine.
may sounds like yung farm, parang farm mali.
Exactly.
Pero nagsispill over siya, Richard. Hindi lang yung tinitingnan mo yung ano. Pero yung mga kalaban natin, pati yung kalupaan natin, meron sila.
But last point on this, kasi very important yung sinabi ni Dean about the issue ng COMELEC, role ng COMELEC ngayon. Well, again, in the case of Taiwan, we know na tinarget talaga yung kanilang election integrity system. Literally, hinahack yung votes and all. And we know that very tight yung labanan in some districts. This is a parliamentary presidential system. So sometimes, kumbaga, ang calculation is, okay, presidential, matatalo tayo, pero if we can get the parliament, alam natin sa Taiwan, nagsusuntukan literally mga tao over the laws, di ba? So there, we have cases of actually ina-attack yung election system itself, the counting system from outside. Hindi na ito your usual hocus-pocus. Iba na ito. Can we talk about that?
Ni-raise din yan ngayon sa atin. Ano? Actually, may mga press release ngayon ng COMELEC na winawarn nga nila tayo na pwedeng mangyari sa atin yan. No? Especially kung nagre-rely tayo on transmission, no? Yung satellite or transmission using
pwede nila
telecoms. Pwede talaga. Pwede yan. Ano? Kaya siguro, kailangan din nating tingnan yung mga protocols natin, kung paano yung, nasan yung vulnerabilities. Kasi vulnerabilities ito Richard, no? Tinitingnan natin nasan yung mga weak points ng current election systems natin.
And do you think it makes sense for us to get help from our more advanced partners? Because hindi tayo nag-isa. There's US, there's Japan, there's Australia.
Definitely, totoo yan. Ano?
We could learn some of their best practice.
Exactly.
Tsaka yung hindi lang to protection, pati na rin resilience, no? Kasi wala namang 100% na protection sa cyber. No, so kung sakaling magkakaroon ng aberya during election day, kailangan maka-recover kaagad tayo kasi ang purpose talaga nito is to discredit yung election system natin So kailangan ma-restore kaagad.
Do you think we should openly say na pwede tayong targeting ng hindi lang mga usual hackers and opportunists but actually even foreign powers?
Of course.
In the long run, no?
Sa malign influence.
Hindi lang long run 1 month na lang, mag-election na din.
Walang walang differentiation Lahat yan nag-work towards a certain goal No, may sariling agenda.
Nagbe-blend na sila.
Nagbe-blend sila. Kaya malaki ang banta talaga sa atin. Actually, sinabi na yan ng National Security Council months before.
Can we quickly talk about the parang yung mga how to build our national immunity? Immunity doesn't mean you're 100% immune. It means that at least you can fight back the virus. The virus will come. Because for instance, in Finland, frontline state because of the Russia, bata pa lang, 7-year-old pa lang, they're being trained doon sa fake news and disinformation.
Yeah.
Australia,
It's a good deal.
Australia for instance, meron registration.
Ban na sila
Yeah,
for-
very clear sila sa registration kung foreign agent ka. Like, wala naman problema na bayaran ka, pero aminin mo lang bayaran ka na ibang bansa para people at least know where you're coming from, di ba? Huwag ka magpanggap na may think tank ka na legit, or na may forum ka na legit, or professor ka na hindi pala. Sabi mo lang kasi yung totoo.
Maraming
Wag na natin pangalanan. Pero yung editor ay pop up yung mga mukha nila. Kung sabi ko, bigla may mga mukha nagpa-pop up. Di ba? Pero kung front kayo, just say it and para magkakaalaman tayo, di ba?
Yeah,
So, different countries have different models while keeping their basic freedoms. I mean, Taiwan is still a very vibrant democracy even if frontline sila. So, kaya naman pala na you can keep democracy. Kasi parati nila sinabi, hindi, if we do something about fake news, wala na tayong freedom of expression. Can you tell us something about the best practices na Goldilocks level ang kinukuha natin, balance between between freedoms and national security?
For example, sa Singapore, meron silang mga batas dyan on disinformation. Ang ginagawa naman ng gobyerno dyan, once na nakita nila na merong mag-complain na nag-ano ng false information, ginagawa naman nila, kinocall nila yung attention nung source, and pinapayagan nilang mag-explain, kung sa tingin nung aggrieved party na na-explain niya, totoo yung kanyang pinost, then wini-withdraw yung case. Ang ibig sabihin is, hindi ito yung para tayong police state.
Yeah.
No, na pag kami nag-akusa sa iyo na, oy, disinformation peddler ka, kailangan ikulong ka na. Hindi ganun no? Meron pa
Presumption of
rin due
innocence pa rin.
So, meron pa rin siyang due process.
Yeah.
Kasi nga, nasa demokrasya tayong Pero aside from that, Richard, aside from laws, yung espionage laws, tama yung sinabi mo, na nag-i-invest tayo doon sa literacy program.
Bata pa lang.
Bata pa lang.
Finland,
Actually,
grabe.
pati nga sa matanda
Diba?
Actually, mas vulnerable yung
Mas
matanda.
vulnerable
May
yung
data ata
matanda.
na mas yung 60 pataas, sila yung mas vulnerable
Yeah,
sa mga
sa fake
news.
misinformation.
Pero may responsibilidad din kasi yung mga nagpe-peddle ng totoong balita. Like for example, sa West Philippine Sea, palagi ko itong pinopoint,
Right.
wala tayong isang source kung saan natin i-archive lahat ng information about West Philippine Sea. Kaya kung kukunin mo yung mga report on Ayungin Shoal, kung saan-saan mo pa siya kukunin Diba?
So, minsan may pasa-pasa pa yun nangyayari.
Yes, pasa-pasa. Kung meron tayong credible source na nandun na lahat, may archive, totoo lahat itong nandito. No? So
ito yung parang, I don't know, models I can think is in the US, for instance, there's certain dedicated websites to the constitutional issues na understandable by ordinary. Parang ito yung jurisprudence, ito yung mga precedents, ito yung rulings. So there's a parang one-to-go shop na kung saan any average American can understand anong relevance ng ruling ng Supreme Court on this issue. Parang we can do the same thing on this, including
madali lang gawin yun.
Yeah.
Kasi actually, ibang mga dyaryo natin, like Philippine Daily Inquirer, ginagawa nila yan lahat ng mga reports nila.
But who should do it? Kasi dapat credible.
Dapat
Kasi
credible.
hindi dapat yung US kasi I think taxpayers funded yung mga websites na yun.
If I may add lang, pinapalad ko minsan yung Kim's Convenience sa Netflix. Makita mo yung,
right.
yung paano yung mga South Korean na naging immigrant sa Canada, naging Canadian citizen. Yung kanilang disgrace sa Japan hanggang ngayon. And then if you realize na bata pa lang sila, may mga songs, may mga cultural programs na naka-embed talaga sa how they really defend their territory.
Yung patriotism,
yung that kind of. So, baka yun ang mga nawawala sa atin. Saka, it's mga importante talaga na ma-embed natin yan na if you can make, for example...
This is South Korea, hindi North Korea.
Yeah,
no?
South
Kasi
Korea.
I'm not sure we want the North Korea.
South Korea.
I've been to North Korea.
It's
Hindi
South
ko
Korea.
nakita.
It's South Korea na...
The great leader.
So, one of the points that
Iyak-iyak
malalim
tawag
sa
yun.
kanila yung cultural
Correct.
value. So sa atin,
Inculcation.
baka yun yung kailangan din talaga natin proactively gawin din natin. Kung may mga songs on West Philippine Sea, may mga documentary or perhaps some tour na kailangang ipakita yan, proactively gawin natin yan. Ako gusto lang idagdag yung Dr. Sherwin kasi I really agree na yung sadness, yung kalungkutan pag nakita mo yung
mangingisda
Pilipino
natin.
ka, para sa mangingisda yan, tapos papalakpakan mo yung ginagawa ng mga kumaharang dyan. Anong klase kang Pilipino pag gano'n?
Well, ako naman, ayoko kasing isipin na na yung mga Pilipino talaga hindi nila maunawaan. Maaring hindi lang nila malaman, hindi na lang nilang makikita kung ano talaga yung totoo. Kaya ako sinabi yung dapat may meron kang isang definitive source na lahat ng balita, lahat ng content, yung mga kantang sinasabi mo din, doon mo makikita. I mean, pwedeng gamitin na ng ibang tao, pero at least merong magbe-vet na ito yung credible source natin.
Alright, on that note, thank you very much because we want to have a separate episode on the West Philippine Sea itself. But start muna tayo sa farm ni Alice Go because I think from land we can go to the seas. The doctrine of the land dominates the seas ang ating motto. Thank you so much, Dean, for the fantastic discussion. You're gonna have a cameo again later with sila Sir Ronald Demo. And thank you, Dr. Sherwin Ona, for this inaugural discussion. I think people have to understand talaga na hindi ito kwentong barbero lang. Although gusto naman natin ng kwentong barbero, wala naman tayong problema. But, you know, kailangan pag-aralan itong mga bagay na to because we're at the middle of what I call double Cold War. US-China, but also Duterte Marcos. So, medyo unfortunately exciting time masyado. And that's why accordingly, we have to deal with that. So, thank you very much everyone for joining the latest episode ng FYI, a voter education program plus. Kasi medyo upgraded na tayo dahil marami tayong medyo may mga deepfake na medyo next level na. Don't worry, marami pa tayong pag-usapan, including yung farm ni Alice Go, aka Go Huaping. Actually, baliktad dapat. Go Huaping, aka Alice Go. Salamat.